Hi, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to do our own coloring sheets. And what you will need is, of course, a set of coloring pencils, an ink pen. We're going to use two different stencils. One has a butterfly and one has the background designs. And we, of course, have our sketch pad with our loose leaf sheets. Now, if you want to see more videos like this and you want to support this channel, please click the subscribe button and hit the notification button, and the notification button will alert you when we do new videos. So what you'll need out of here is just one of the sheets. Take just one out. This is a nice clean type paper that will take, it's not too thick, it'll take the coloring pencils, but I don't think it is thick enough to take watercolor pencils. So I'm just going to flip that upside down. What I want you to do is fold that one sheet in half. And this is great for when you're just starting out, and then fold it in half again. What we're going to do is create 4 designs. I want you to get comfortable with doing these. So for each sheet, when I do something like this, I really enjoy creating the coloring sheets as much as I enjoy coloring them. So you'll have 4 designs. And I usually only put a design on one side in case you want to frame this. Once you're comfortable with doing the 4 smaller ones, you can go ahead and just use a full sheet out of your sketch pad. There, we've folded that. Now, one other important thing is we tend to include these therapeutic art surveys and information sheets, really. And it just tells you when you're working on these by yourself, just a couple of little instructions that you follow to make your session really smooth. Now, you can take as little or as much time as you want when you're doing a session. Our therapeutic art sessions are meant to help you relax, and that means you can do these on a lunch break, you can do these at night, you can do them in the morning, you can do them anytime that you feel you need a break. And then there are some critique questions here because we don't criticize our paintings. Number 1, we do not let the painting hear us say anything negative about it. And then we want to try everything. So don't say you can't do something, and please never let your paintings hear you say anything negative about them. If you work with your right brain in creating a painting and allow the painting to become what it desires to become, you will be somewhat surprised and amazed. You will create some fantastic works of art. So this is like a resealable type thing. You can keep your stencils in those if you like, or you can just keep them separated or someplace else. I tend to keep them separated in these little things so that they don't, sometimes they'll tangle. They have some delicate cutout designs, and sometimes they'll snag on each other. So I tend to keep mine separated, but you don't have to. Now we're going to use these with pencil, but you can also use these in paintings too. All right, what we're going to do is move everything to the side. We're going to pick a butterfly off of this stencil, any butterfly. We're going to need to do 3 on here. So I'm going to put this on here, and I'm not going to put it dead center. Set it off to the left, right, up, or down. It doesn't matter, but just not dead center. And then trace it. Now, while you are doing this, I may go a little faster than what you do, but that's okay. You can stop the video and go back to doing what you're doing, and then come back and restart the video. These are just really, really easy. There's really nothing to it because the stencil is there. And what you'll notice is when you get used to doing these, you'll just start doing them all over. I'm going to use the same stencil, the same design. You don't have to. You can change up and use another one if you like. So how about I do that? I'll put one here, but I'm going to run this butterfly off the page. It's not the same exact one. You don't have to use the same exact one. Remember, you are the artist and you are creating a work of art. The only wrong way is to don't try it. That's what I think. I used to say there's no wrong way, but there is. If you don't try it, if you think it's no good and you stop midway, that's no good at all. There. See, it's running off the edge. Now I have this word over here to kind of help keep the camera in focus. Let's see if I can bring it down a little closer to the surface so you can see a better look, excuse me, get a better look at what I'm doing. And then that's there. I think I'm going to put something here. So I'm going to run this one right off the bottom here. It's going in a totally different direction. There's no set in stone way to do any of these. And therefore, you really have the freedom to just relax and let go. Now that we have 3 on there, and we tend to work in odd numbers, so that's why I picked 3. And I'm not going to make these super elaborate. I'm going to simplify it as much as possible. And once you get comfortable with this, you can add more and more details, which will make it more elaborate. So let's see, I have there. Now we need to fill in these negative spaces. Or should I say we need to add stuff to the negative space. I'm not going to fill it totally in, but I'm going to add some stuff to it so that it's not so empty. And I'm just going to tilt this a little. I don't want everything going in the same direction. That's kind of sparse, so that's good. Again, you see, I did not make that perfect. It looks like I made a mistake, but I did not. Remember, there's no making a mistake with these. I don't want them bunched up, and I don't want them too far apart. This looks like I'm starting a pattern there, so I'm going to put one over here so that it doesn't look like a pattern. And then we'll just throw in a couple more down here. It's empty. See how empty it looks in there? I'm going to come over here, and then you'll be able to see it looks empty right there. See, it looks a little empty there. Probably don't even need to put that there. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to add one more design to it. And I'm just looking on here. You decide which one you want to use. It won't matter. I'm going to use this one. And with these, you don't have to use the entire design. You see, I used this middle here and I didn't use these other pieces here. You don't have to use the whole design. It's up to you what you want to do. So I'm going to come in here because it's a butterfly and they tend to lay eggs on leaves. And I'll just say most of the time, it may be when they're, see how that filled up that space? It may be around a flower or 2. So I'm going to just add a couple of these flowers. What I found out what makes a really, really nice markings are the, let me see if I can say this right. It's when you have the cookie press. A cookie press, oh my goodness. We have a video in here where we use cookie press to make these designs. So I just kind of randomly put it there, and I'm going to run this one off the page over here. I don't want the whole one on there. It creates interest when you run certain things off the page, and that's called breaking the picture plane. It breaks off the picture plane, and that creates interest in your painting, whether it's this coloring sheet or something else. And you want the markings to be randomly, sometimes look sort of random. I think it needs one here. It's got the flowers scattered. See if I can remember where I was at, right here. And I'm going to put one more here. I tend to just get there. That's all that's needed for that. That is really nice. It's not too busy. It's not too empty. It just looks empty right there now. You see that? That looks kind of empty right there. So I thought I was through, but when I stepped back and evaluated it or critiqued it, I saw it looked like there was an empty spot. So I'm going to put one more. Isn't that something? I said I was done. One more, one more, one more. Okay, that's it. That will work for that. And I think that turned out really, really nicely. Okay, let's try another one. So we're just going to flip this paper over. And on this one, we're going to get a little more ambitious, so to speak. I'm going to put another butterfly. We're using both stencils, but I'm going to put this here, sort of to one edge, just because I want to do something slightly different. No other reason than that. And we trace these. Now, you can do these the same as the other one when I did the other background. You don't have to put all these markings in here if you don't want to. It's up to you. But what you do to one side of the butterfly, you must do to the other side, because they are the same across sides. So that body would cut it in half. Whatever's on this side is on that side, and vice versa. There's that butterfly. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is just grab some things that are nearby, and we're going to fill in the space. So the stuff that I have right here at arm's length on this desk, I'm going to use. I think this came off of one of the containers, sort of like a paint container or something. It's a circle. You can use the outside, which is smoother, and then this inside has some little whatever's on it. So I'm just going to hold that down. Not quite. That's okay. So since I did it that way, all I have to do really is I'll run this off the page over here. I kind of squeeze that as I was tracing the inside, and then I'm going to run it off the page right here. You'll be able to tell it's the same thing. That's it for that. And I'm going to come in here. Now I'm going to start overlapping, but I want the butterfly to be on top of the design. So I'm going to come in here just with the stencil itself. I'm going to come in here and I want that corner. But I don't want to cut the butterfly in half here with this line design. So I'm going to tilt it a little bit. I'm going to trace the outside, skip over the butterfly. I'm going to go right between his antenna and his body, skip and go around. There's something under there. Okay, I'm just making sure. There. Now it looks like the butterfly is on top of this thing, and so is this. Now let's put another something here. And the butterfly's antenna is right there. Now this one looks like it's laying on top of that one, which is fine with me. And I'm going to give it one more. So I'm going to come in here, right here. It's up to you how you do these. I want this to come over the top here, but I'm going to make it go behind those two round things there. So I came over the top of this thing, but it's butted up against the edge of that, but it's running behind that one. Doesn't matter. It's just to create a little variety. Now, another thing I'm going to use is a paintbrush since I have one handy. I'm going to put a paintbrush here. I'm going to put it behind this thing. And on top of that. I'm going to run it right on top of that. And I prefer to have odd numbers of these also, so I'm not going to use the whole outline or as much of that outline as I did there. So I have 3 of those. Kind of like that. No problem. And of course, I'm going to come back now and just use the handle itself. I'm going to use the width of the handle. Now, let's see if I can hold this down. I'd be all right. I want it to go over, and behind that one. And nothing's on top of the butterfly for sure. And I'm going to come here. I didn't even run it across. I stopped it right there. But I can see the duplication there. So we repeat, we duplicate, and with some things, we don't use the whole parts of it. Will work. That kind of ran right with that. And that'll work. That'll work just fine. So you can add more to it if you like, or you can add less, but you want enough in there to create interest because now you'll go in and color these when you're done. I tend to make 4. So I have 1 and 2 there. I'll flip this over here and I can make 2 more. It's easier to do it that way. And then you can relax when you start coloring them. I relax when I make them, so. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the butterfly again. And I think I want to put this one. I'm going to use this one this time. Not quite in the middle, slightly up and to the left this time. I just like these designs, so don't mind me. You don't have to use all of them. May not use that, I'm not too sure. We'll see. This I definitely need, otherwise the butterfly will be too short. I like these little divots. I'm just looking, it looks almost like a flower. So I have to put some more of these things in there. I'm holding it down and I'm able to lift this up to see what it looks like. It looks more like a flower. So I'll go ahead and put these in. That's there. This is the back wing here. All right, now what we're going to do is something we used to do when we were younger. I'm going to now place free-handed lines on here using the ink pen, but I'm not going to cross over in front of the butterfly. I want the butterfly to be closer to me. So I'm going to start in here and loop, jump over my butterfly, It looks almost like the butterfly is in flight. Come back. And if you don't feel that you have enough lines in here, you can come in and make some more. This one went that way and come back that way. I think I like that. That will work just fine. Looks like I have KLS. I know the brain does that. So perfect. Now we're going to flip it over. And with this, you can use squiggly lines or you can use straight lines. So I'm going to go ahead and use some straight lines. And that means I'm going to use a stencil and crisscross these lines across this page, here and there, so that it will create something interesting. This part is an intuitive piece. I'm going to go here. It is an intuitive piece. Sometimes I look at them and the pieces look, these sections may look too large, and if so, you can just go back in and break them up. So I'm gonna come here. These two are a little large. I'm just gonna come right here and turn this and break these two, make them smaller. And these are kind of large, and so is that one. So let's see, what can I do? I don't want to parallel this line, so I'll turn it slightly. There, perfect. All right, we can put those to the side. And now for the other part that's just as fun. Now, when we make markings on the coloring sheets, we do a couple of different techniques, and so I want to show them to you. We hold the coloring pencil as if we're going to write. In doing so, we make a dark line. We can make a lighter line if we use less pressure. But that's a narrow line that we use, doing it in that manner. We can also hold it almost horizontal to the surface and use the wide part of the pencil lead instead of the tip. Do it that way. We can cover a larger amount of space in a shorter amount of time. We can also make circular motions using the side of the pencil lead. We can make circular motions using the tip of the pencil lead. But again, using the tip will give you a much finer line. Now, coloring pencils have one drawback, and that is that it is hard to erase them. So what we tend to do is we tend to make our marks light and then come back and make another layer on top of that, either in the same direction or going in a different direction. And we can also apply a little extra pressure as we're adding more layers. They crisscross each other. And then we can use a circular motion right on top of that to kind of get rid of the lines that we see in there. But just know that we don't do the hardest, we don't use a whole lot of pressure at first. And that way we don't have to worry about making mistakes as far as the area may be darker than what we wanted. Now, as you are coloring, we want you to not think and only allow your right brain to create your paintings. For this one, we use every color that we have. You can color them light, all light. You can color some dark, some light. And you can also do a gradation, which is to start on one area dark and go lighter as you progress across the space. You can always come back and make it darker in an area if that's not dark enough. So that's what I usually do. When I do these, I'll color the whole thing one time, and then I'll come back and add more coloring to different areas that I want to pop. Okay, so let's begin on that. It doesn't matter which color you start with or which space. You put whatever color you feel like putting in whatever area. It's an intuitive painting. So while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and add a little music. I didn't want you to have to fight to hear what I was saying. You can color one, or you can color like two and then another one. But you want to make sure you go through every single color that you have. Okay? Also, you can turn your paper to better color a space. Take a break when needed. Stop the video and take a break if you need to. Listen to the sound of the music, also the sound that the pencil makes as you're marking on the paper. You can also just focus on the feeling of the pencil making marks on the paper as well. And covering that larger space, it's easier and it covers faster if you hold the pencil almost parallel to the surface. And I've used, this is my last color. I generally don't paint with black and straight white. Black is very dominant. It tends to absorb the light and the colors and gets more attention than I like. So now I have 2, 4, 5 spaces left, and I'm just going to randomly pick the colors again, not in any particular order. I just wanted to make sure I use every color. So can you imagine doing this with one of those boxes of crayons? It's like what, 100 and something colors in there? Jeez. You would need to make a lot more spaces than what I have on here now. But that too is a challenge. And that's complete. Now, if I like, I can go back in here now and darken some of these areas, doing that gradation. So the whole thing is not one solid looking